gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha, 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 gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your neighborhood Unitarian Universalist congregation. Good morning. My name's Susanne. I'm here to bring you the life of our community. What's going on at neighborhood? Today after service, our C committee is meeting from 12:15 to 1:30. Join us for pizza and to discuss the various justice initiatives happening at NUUC and the DMC that we can get involved in. All are welcome. The fundraising committee is hosting a Mimosa Sunday on Sunday, June 8th after service to chat with committee members about becoming a member or your fundraising ideas for neighborhood. Our annual silent auction is opening November 1st, so if you're purging your home of quality items, hold on to them. We'll be looking for donations of items in good condition in the fall. Next week after service, please stay for our town hall meeting. We will have pizza again to share your views on what worked this year for our services, our themes, including the new movement service pilot, and what you're hoping for services in the coming year, themes, speakers. Maybe you have something to offer in our next congregational year. We hope you'll stay and chat with us. Together we plan, together we grow. Save the date for Monday, May 26th at 7, a DMC event. Who You Are Matters. Neighborhood, the Danforth Jewish Circle, and East End United are getting together for a night of facilitated conversation, games, and connection. The spiritual leaders of all the communities will be there, and we hope you will be too. June 1st is our annual flower communion ceremony. Just a reminder, please, to bring a flower with you to service in the morning. If you can't get a flower, we'll have extras for those that forgot or couldn't get one. The Spirit Players, that's Neighborhood's drama group, presents Neither on June 1st. Want to be a part of the play? We'd love to have you. You can chat with Julia, who's there at the activity table. Speaking of June 1st, we're having a potluck that Sunday after service following the flower communion. Please bring a food item you think other people would like and make it kid-free. What to expect: food and community, all ages bingo with really fun prizes, a make your own Sunday. And this is brought to you by our Lifespan Learning Committee. Next Sunday, we continue to explore the theme of equity with Love at the Center with the message, Exploring Equity, a Sunday morning needs analysis with speaker Beverly Horton. Music will be with Susanne and Beverly, and our service weaver will be Tab and Time for all ages next week will be storytelling with Julia.
Good morning. Oh, almost. Is it on? It is. We welcome you to our Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Congregation service. Thank you for joining us here, and also those of you who are joining us via Zoom. And I'll say once more, good morning and welcome.
Morning, Allison.
The land where we meet has a history. Since time immemorial, Indigenous nations have known the shores of Lake Ontario. These lands have held the stories and hopes of peoples, including the Wendat, the Anishinaabeg Nation, and the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. But it is the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations who are the treaty holders to the lands containing Toronto or Tikaronto, this region. This is the acknowledgement that settlers state to honor the lands of the Indigenous peoples that we occupy. An Indigenous land acknowledgement honors the land, and in that spirit, I bring our attention to the grasses and trees that are so varied and full in such individuality and mystery. Even in the city, we will have noticed the vegetation and small animals, possibly a bird or a raccoon on our way home last night or on our way here this morning. If we look closer, perhaps we see small wildflowers and curious fungus, an entirely other world among the lawns and well or unkempt gardens. I wonder at how I am a part of such a wonderful world. My name is Allison Kabayama, and I will be your service weaver this morning. We start today's service by creating a sacred space. To help us all stay undistracted in sacred space, please take a moment to silence your phones or other electronic devices. And then I invite you to join us in reading our invocation, which will be projected above. If you cannot see it or are unfamiliar, please let the words and meaning of those words wash over you. Let us cast the circle of a sacred space here. Let's cast the circle of a cherished space here. A space of safety, a place of forgiveness, a place of love. If we want the world to change, we must craft in our space and in ourselves the seeds that grow a different kind of life of graciousness, of creative intelligence, place of life and spirit for ourselves and our families. The symbol of our UU faith is our chalice. Today, the chalice will be lit by Mark Tim. Instead of lighting it anew, we are taking the light from the children's flame and then passing it to our own chalice. In this way, may we be inspired to keep the children's fire alive in our hearts. We light this chalice to remember, to light the fire within our own hearts.
I'll go over here. Good morning, everyone. I'm opening our service today with an arrangement of the Japanese folk song Sakura. Sakura is the cherry blossoms that we're celebrating this morning. This song uses a specific pentatonic scale, which means a 5-note scale called the Myakubushi scale. This isn't a scale we hear very often in Western music, so I just wanted to lift up the difference between my common pentatonic scale and the Myakubushi scale. So this scale is what we hear in, for example, blues music of the West and folk songs of the West. And in Sakura, this Japanese folk song, the scale is this one. We'll get to explore singing that scale in our opening congregational song, which occurs a little bit later in the service. But for now, here's Sakura, arranged by Unitarian Universalist composer Cliff Harden.
as we continue in sacred space, we thank all those many staff and volunteers who have created this service. I am so happy that neighborhood member Peter Marmorek is speaking again today, this time on the subject of Buddhism, continuing his series of messages on some of the major world religions. And we, of course, have Rev. Sally to expand upon Buddha and Buddha nature. Our services are live on Zoom and also offered on, recorded for YouTube. The areas at the sides under the wings here are not camera visible, and they have quiet spots if you prefer them. We are open to many beliefs and learn from many traditions here. We welcome all people looking for a spiritual community. If you are visiting for us in person for the first time, a special welcome to you. We encourage you to stay after service for coffee or tea and some fine snacks that we're going to be gifted this morning. Please take a red mug, and if you do so, that is a signal to us that you're open to conversation, that we might find out more about you, and you might have any questions you answered that you may have about us. There's also a new visitor's tape slip in the back pocket of the chairs in front of you that will let us answer any questions. We could keep in touch if you provide your email address, and we can send out our email announcements as well that way. Just put it in the offering basket later in the service. It knows when my son is calling me. I put it on do not disturb and it rings. Our services can vary from week to week. So we encourage you to come back again to sample several to get a better feel for who we are. The Lismer room, or we call it the youth room, is next to the wiggle room, is open after service for those who want a quieter place to talk, as a cappuccino room can be overwhelming with all the excitement for some of us. Our mission at Neighborhood is to empower spiritual growth and shared action for the care of our world. Our theme for this 6-week period is equity, and the theme for today's service is Buddhisms and Buddha nature. The UUA, which is the Unitarian Universalist Association, explains our value of equity as we declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. Our first UU principle is the inherent worth and dignity of every person. May is also Asian Heritage Month. During this service, I and others will be sharing about various Asian practices, philosophies, cultures, and beliefs. Next month, Peter will be talking about Buddhism, about Hinduism, actually, which also arose out of Asia. My older brother, Makoto Kabayama, is the 24th generation of the Kabayama bouquet. Our samurai descendants, and he is the chonan of our family. Shinto, the oldest religion in Japan, houses many beliefs, and both Zen Buddhism and Bushido, the way of Taoist philosophy, were similar in their austerity and practicality. The 8 virtues of Bushido are rectitude or justice, courage, benevolence or mercy, politeness, honesty and sincerity, honor, loyalty, character, and self-control. These virtues and the need to empty oneself in order to receive and learn were modeled for and instilled in us as we were growing up. Zen philosophy definitely resonated with samurai in general. Makoto let me know that one Kabayama samurai retired as a Buddhist monk, known for his tea ceremony. My grandfather, Jun Kabayama, was a Taoist and heeded Zen Buddhism prior to converting to Christianity and becoming a United Church minister. Grandpa was a person of few words, but he spoke to my brother Makoto about Makoto, which means sincerity, and giri, which means duty, doing what you thought was right for people perhaps less fortunate than yourself, and in general, regardless of consequences to yourself. Grandpa told my brother that he saw Jesus as an archetypal samurai who fought for what he believed in, even though the consequences could well be dire or insurmountable. Art was also part of the samurai practice to help to meditate and calm oneself before battle and after battle, to deal with our emotions of anxiety and trauma. To quiet the mind and be in the moment was essential. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhi svaha is a Buddhist mantra that we started service with as our gathering music that is found at the end of the Heart Sutra, often cited as the best known Buddhist scripture. It is also known as the heart calming mantra. There are a couple translations, but they share the same general focus. This mantra can be translated as gone, gone, gone to the other shore beyond. Oh, what an awakening, all hail. Another shorter, more concise translation is gone, gone beyond the beyond to enlightenment. In the words of Hongzhi Zhenjue, who was a 12th century philosopher and Zen master in China, the practice of true reality is simply to sit serenely in silent introspection. When you have fathomed that you cannot be turned around by external causes and conditions, this empty, wide open mind is subtly and correctly illuminating. So now is the time that we get to greet our neighbors around us. After you have greeted a few neighbors, perhaps turn to the camera and give a wave, offer a greeting to those that are joining us virtually. Susanne will sound a chime to end. So now please take a moment and greet the neighbors around you. So now we all get to sing. And move if you like to stand. You can feel the falling leaves or floating petals in the music. We're going to sing this line by line. So I will sing the first line and you can repeat it back to me. Sakura, sakura. Miwatasu Mini Yukan. Sakura, sakura, yayoi no sora wa miwatasu kagiri, kasumi ka kumo ka noyo izo izuru izaya izaya mini yukan. One more time. Sakura, sakura, yayoi no sora wa miwatasu kagiri, kasumi ka kumo ka nio izo izuru izaya izaya mini yukan.
Hi, I'm Julia. This is the Time for All Ages, and today we're going to be doing something. I always feel as though I start out, we're going to be doing something different. So we are, and I know I'm going to sound like a teacher, but can anybody give me a definition of mindfulness? What do you think mindfulness? Yes. Yes, calm and not that active. Yes, that's great. Any other? I think that kind of says it all, because then when you're calm and not that active, you're kind of in the moment, in the present, right? So your thoughts aren't, your monkey brain isn't traveling all over. You're not thinking about all the things you know, in the future you have to do and all the things that you should have done. Well, Thich Nhat Hanh was a Vietnamese Buddhist monk, and he taught a lot of people all over the world about mindfulness. And so today we're going to be doing some of his breathing exercises, and these are the exercises that the Buddhist monks and nuns do in Plum Village. And this is how they work. As we breathe in, we know that we're breathing in. We're aware of that breath coming into our bodies. And as we breathe out, we know that we're breathing out. We're aware of that. And then when we breathe like that, we're able to enjoy what is going on at each moment. So there are 10 movements that the monks and nuns do every morning, but I'm going to take you through 4. And these exercises can be done, you know, as you're sitting down, so you can do the arm exercises, or if you want to do the full body exercise, you can join me up here with the kids, or you can find somewhere in the sanctuary where you have some space, however you want to do it. All right, so I'm going to give you a demonstration with a description, and then we're going to try it twice. So for our first one, we start, I'll just do it, and then you can do it after if you want. We start with our arms on our shoulders. Oh, first of all, I should say, let's just, center our bodies. So Feet should be solidly on the ground, back straight, shoulders relaxed. And then we take our breathing down, down, down into our bellies. So nice deep belly breathing. And let's just stay like that for just a couple of moments, and then we can get into the exercises. And when you breathe, you take a breath. It doesn't have to be deep, in through your nose and out through your mouth. All right, so we start with our hands on our shoulders, and we take a deep breath in. I'm just going to explain. Deep breath in, and then we take our arms off our shoulders and stretch them out and take a deep breath out and return to neutral. Should we try it? All right, the next one, we begin with our palms, our hands down, and our palms facing each other, our arms straight. And then we bring our arms up, 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 so that they're right up as high as they can go. And then we turn our palms outward and draw like an arc with our arms. And we let our breath out and return to the start position. Okay, should we try it? Take a deep breath in as you do it. For the next one, we start in the same position as the previous one. And then we bring our arms all the way to the top as we're breathing in. And then as we're breathing out, we're just going to let ourselves go. We're going to bend at the waist and just let our arms, hang there. Don't force yourselves to touch the ground. And and then so it should look like this. And then breathing in like this and then out. Okay, should we try it? And then we can just return to neutral. And for the last one, we put one arm at our waist or hip. And then as we're breathing in, we're going to stretch out our leg on the opposite side and the opposite arm. So like this, and you bend. And as you bend your knee, you stretch out your arm. And then you're taking a deep breath doing this, and then bring it back, and you're breathing back out. Should we try it? Now put your arm on your other hip, and we'll try it with the other arm and other leg. All right, those are our exercises. And just imagine doing, as I say, there's more, so you can always, if you want, you can find out what they are, and they're a beautiful way, to start the day or any time of the day that you want to do them. And now we're going to go make some mindfulness jars with the kids. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. Most religions have a foundational myth, and this is Buddhism's. About 2,600 years ago, a son was born to a royal family, in a Hindu royal family. At his birth, the diviners predicted that either he would be a great king or a great religious teacher. The father, the king, knew which he preferred, so he kept his son in the palace and tried to keep him isolated from all mention of religions. At 29 years old, Siddhartha snuck out at night, and for the first time he saw an old man, and he learned about how we all grow old. On subsequent trips, he saw someone with disease, he saw a corpse, and he saw an ascetic holy man. So he left the palace and studied until he finally obtained enlightenment, awakening to the reality of what the world was. He became known as Buddha, a name which means the awakened one. He taught until he was 80, and his teachings spread from India through Nepal, China, Korea, Japan, and eventually to North America and worldwide. There are now 500 million Buddhists in the world, which makes it the fourth largest world religion. And of course, it evolved into different forms, all of which share the same basis, the Four Noble Truths. The first truth is that life is suffering. The second, that suffering is caused by desire and clinging. The third, the cure for suffering is giving up desires. And the fourth, that you do that through the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path, next slide, consists of actions, the ethical conduct of right speech, right action, and right livelihood, the mental disciplines of right effort, right concentration, and right mindfulness, and the wisdom of the right views and right intentions. But notice what's not on that slide. There's no mention of heaven, of hell, of gods or a creator, or any of what we in the West tend to associate with religion. Buddhism, in its traditional form, is non-theistic. It doesn't deny the existence of deities, but doesn't consider them crucial. The cure for suffering is equitable. That is, it's open to all. Hinduism, the religion and society into which Buddha was born, had a very hierarchical caste system in which your social and your religious status was determined by who you were born to. Buddhism says, not exactly in these words, but in effect, we declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. I spoke here previously about how religions have three facets: traditionalist, reformist, and experiential. Traditionalist Buddhism is Theravada, which means the small raft, because Buddha taught that his message was a raft for leaving the shore of suffering and going to the other shore of bliss and safety. Gate gate, gone to the other shore. Theravada Buddhism is the small raft because it's focused on the individual. In it, the key practice is meditation, and the key virtue is wisdom. The first place I encountered Theravada Buddhism was Shwedagon Pagoda. Can we have the next slide? That's the Buddhist stupa, a solid temple in the heart of Rangoon in what was then called Burma. The gold is genuine gold plates all the way up the 100-meter side. I met a monk walking around outside on the marble walkway where you walk barefoot. He spoke English, and he asked me what I did in Canada. I told him I was a world religions teacher, and he got very excited, and he and a friend of his took me off to a back room where, from memory, he gave me a list of 14 books I had to read in English with publishers before I could even begin to teach about Buddhism. That is classic Theravada, where the key virtue is wisdom. The one book of the list I did read seemed more like philosophy than religion, logically developing from one point to another with no theology inside it. Theravada Buddhism has a separation between the lay people and the clergy. Here's a photograph of the friendly people in Laos. Everyone was friendly in Laos. Who come out at 5 o'clock in the morning to give rice to the monks who come by to get their rice for the day. That's all the monks get to eat. And there again you see the Theravadan separation between the monks and the laity. The largest temple complex in the world, 200 square kilometers, 72 major temples, is in Cambodia at Angkor Wat. It was a Buddhist temple complex from 1000 CE on, but got abandoned to the jungle for several hundred years. I had the good fortune, some would say misjudgment, to be there at a time when there were very few tourists because there was a civil war with the Khmer Rouge going on at the time, which is a whole other story. But I was able to go to the Bayon Temple at sunrise and be the only person who was there, no one else, watching the sunrise over the jungle and illuminate the 216 Buddha faces that are on the Bayon Temple, which is here. It was a transformative moment, feeling the power and majesty of the place. And while the Bayon has been reclaimed from the jungle, some temples, Tafram is shown here, have been left as they are, because all aspects of Buddhism teach the impermanence of everything and how you can't cling to anything. It'll make you suffer, even when the thing you're clinging to is the temple of the Buddha. Mahayana, which means large raft Buddhism, the reformist branch, has changed and adapted from the original Buddhism. Monks and lay people are more involved. The key virtue is compassion, and the key practice is prayer. So in Mahayana, it's everyone who becomes liberated, not just the monks. The bodhisattva, the monk's vow, is to refrain from entering nirvana until even the blades of grass have been enlightened. I visited Ladakh in northeast India in the rain shadow of the Himalayas, where many of the Tibetans fled after China occupied Tibet. In Tibetan Buddhism, people pray not only verbally, but through prayer flags, which you may well have seen around, or through prayer wheels. When the flags flutter, or the wheels shown here spin, the prayer is sent. The lamas were all very friendly to me. Next slide. That's me on the right. And the lamaseries also work as schools for the community. In this next slide, we see a group of young monks who are preparing butter tea, which is the drink that visitors are invited to share with the lamas. Then I traveled to Kathmandu, which has a large Tibetan Buddhist presence as well. This is a picture of the Swayambhunath temple. The huge globe, which is just seen at the bottom, represents the entire world. When a person awakes from samsara, the illusory cycle of life, death, and rebirth, through the Buddha eyes, which are those two eyes in the center representing wisdom and compassion, they reach a state of enlightenment. The little curly symbol between the eyes represents the unity of all things existing in the world. Tibetan Buddhism has tankas. They're elaborate paintings that are both a form of meditation to paint and a sermon in images in a tradition in which literacy was not universal. The actual thangka that you're seeing in front of you is at the front of the sanctuary, and you're welcome to look at it afterwards. I don't have time to go through, but it basically sums up all of Buddhism in an image. In the center is a snake, a rooster, and a pig, which represent greed, hatred, and ignorance, which bind individuals to the cycle. Then there's good karma in white and bad karma, different ways of living, these 12 forms of transformation, and the whole thing is held by Yama, the god of death, which symbolizes the inevitability of death and the grip of illusion. However, there's Buddha off to the side, 2 Buddhas on this one, illustrating the possibility of escape. I said god of death, but in Mahayana Buddhism, the gods are something very different from gods as we have them in the West. The worship takes a form of imagining yourself as the god and trying to take in all of that aspect, the personification. As one Lama put it, Tara knows that she doesn't exist. Experiential Buddhism, the Zen form, has no sacred text. There's a famous Zen saying, if you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. And no sacred paintings and abstract rock gardens. Photo credit here goes to my brother Dave, who a month ago was in Kyoto. And that's an introduction to some of the forms of basic Buddhisms. We'll go into Buddha nature later in the service with Sally.
Thank you, Peter. I invite us all to settle more fully into our bodies and into this space for a period of meditative silence. You may sit in your chair, you can move to the floor, stand, lay down, be in whatever posture feels right to you. We'll move into our meditative silence guided by words from Caverly Morgan, who's a writer who spent 8 years of her life in Silent Zen Monastery. And she's the founder of the Presence Collective, which is a cross-cultural community committed to collective transformation. This meditation comes from her book, The Heart of Who We Are. Take a breath, and after the reading, we'll rest in silent contemplation for a time, begun and ended with our temple bells. We tend to struggle when the mind drags us off into review of our past, or our emotions such as regret, fear, or anger. But we can also find the place, the refuge we experience when the attention is in the present moment, touching the okayness of what is, resting here. So simply allow the attention to rest on the breath, our anchor here and now. We so often take the breath for granted. It is okay to enjoy breathing, the simplicity of it. It is okay to enjoy simply being. And if the breath is difficult to enjoy, try a different anchor, such as the sounds around you. Sounds always arising in silence in the here and now, a reliable refuge. When your attention wanders, when suddenly you are caught in a story, swept up in emotion, or identified with the thinking mind in some other way, gently and lovingly notice this and come back. Redirect the attention, come back to your anchor. Return here and now with kindness. Come back to yourself. Come back to being. One more breath. Open your eyes. Roll your shoulders. And know that you are here. As Unitarian Universalists, we try to take seriously the presence of truth in traditions that are not our own. We actively seek out the wisdom of other religions while acknowledging that our own cultural and spiritual lenses will always color what we find. Spending time these past months seeing us craft Sunday services, exploring various world religions has, I know, been an exercise in humility for all involved, recognizing how impossible it is to do justice to something as vast and rich and complex as Islam or Judaism and now Buddhism. For some, Buddhism is more a philosophy than religion, or a mindfulness practice that can be layered over various theologies. For some, Buddhism is very much a religion centered on making offerings at temple, praying to gods and spirits. The art, stories, traditions, scriptures, beautiful buildings, beliefs, everything that together amount to the thing we call Buddhism could fill several lifetimes of study. Peter's insights and vivid images capture a compelling slice of all that Buddhism can be. So with that glimpse of the vastness and diversity of this tradition serving as our foundation, let's spend a little time focusing our attention in, lifting out just one small element of this faith, giving ourselves the time it takes to deeply consider the truth it contains. Today and for our next several services, we're centered on the UU value of equity. That is the idea that every person is inherently worthy and has inherent rights that should be honored. This resonates in harmony with an element of Buddhism that I want to lift up for us, the Buddha nature. There's a Sanskrit term originating in the Mahayana tradition, Tathagata Garbha, which is a compound of two words, Tathagata, which means the one who has gone and come back, and Garbha, which means embryo or seed or essence. The one who has gone and come back is the Buddha. He, as we know, went to the other shore, achieved nirvana, escaped from the suffering of this world, and chose to come back and stay in order to teach others the path to enlightenment. And the Garbha, the embryo or the center, is what lies in all of us, a potential energy that we all possess, the ability to reach enlightenment ourselves. The word is most often translated as Buddha nature and explained as a belief that all sentient beings are equally capable of reaching enlightenment. All people are carrying this embryo of truth. And with the proper care and nurturing, any of us could grow it into something that delivers us out of the suffering of this life. It's a radical kind of equality to declare that all sentient beings have the Buddha nature, perhaps especially in a world where it is so easy to look around and see how many are behaving in ways that are not Buddha-like at all. That seed of enlightenment must be buried very deeply sometimes. It's easy to doubt that it could be there at all. So let yourself turn inward for a moment. Locate in your own center the Buddha nature there. If you don't feel it there at all, that's okay. This is an invitation to be open to a tradition that might not be your own. You can translate into terms that make sense to you. Maybe you're imagining that it's there, picturing that it's there. Whatever works to engage with authenticity and curiosity, look inward to your Buddha nature. Breathe and seek out the Tathagata Garbha at your center, that seed of potential enlightenment. It might take time to find because it becomes easily clouded or crusted over with the dirt of everyday life, desires and attachments, ego and distraction. It might feel like a hard knot of energy, or a pulsing flame, or a steady star, a still pool. It might be in the center of your chest, in your belly, your forehead, or not in your body at all, but somewhere else, your consciousness. This seed, this embryo, is both a promise and a responsibility. It promises comfort, reassurance that you are worthy, that you are something more than your mistakes, something more than your struggles. That is precious. But it's also a challenge. A seed cannot grow on its own. It requires soil, sun, and water. It demands tending. What does your Buddha nature need in order to grow? What can it tell you today about what will feed its spark or untangle its knot or deepen its pool? Fewer distractions, more honesty, a change in life circumstance, deeper relation to the natural world, more purposeful action. We'll take the time for 3 deep breaths. On the inhale, inquiring with your Buddha nature, what does it need to grow? And on the exhale, listen for its answer. Any answers received are, I'm sure, as diverse as your experiences, as your needs. And let me connect this to what we learned of Buddhist practice earlier. The Eightfold Path is the attempt to compile those answers into broad categories, into a shorthand to be able to talk about what all of our Buddha natures might need: right understanding, right livelihood, right action, and so forth. What truth does this offer to you today? Where does this land? Embracing the idea of the Buddha nature is an act of faith. Not faith in a God necessarily, but faith in people or in the truth of the path that Buddhism lays out. It's a leap of faith to look at the world, to look at this world and declare every person has a core essence that is virtuous and worthy and capable of transcending our human selfishness and attachment. We don't always see evidence of that. It takes belief. Our own UU belief in equity, the inherent worth and dignity of all people, resonates and echoes some of those same faithful chords. Our universalist forebears broke with the rest of Christianity, specifically because of their heretical belief in universal salvation. That is, they rejected the idea that only the elect would go to heaven. They preached the inherent worthiness of all people, that all of us are destined for the same salvation. The idea of inherent worthiness is still today a transgressive one, still radical. It's easy to say, for example, that all men are created equal, but quite a bit harder, we find, to actually live that. We can look around our world, our nation, our neighborhoods, and witness for ourselves that we do not collectively treat one another with dignity. We do not build our societies as if there is a precious seed of enlightenment within each individual member. If we were able to give these spiritual ideas, the Buddha nature, universal salvation, their proper due, if we took seriously a belief in the deep inborn equality of all, how different would our world be? The purpose of these Sundays spent exploring world religions isn't just to educate ourselves, so that is valuable, isn't just to satisfy our curiosity or say, look at this cool bit of trivia from the world. The hope is that we can allow ourselves to be changed by encountering other traditions with openness, that we can be genuinely available enough to allow the wisdom of other faiths to permeate, shape our choices and actions in the world. So may we, when we return to the world today, go with new understanding, with a deepened sense of our own worthiness, a clearer path toward growing that seed of enlightenment, and with the ability to recognize the same worthiness, that same potential in all. May it be so today and always. May all be blessed.
Now is the time for our offertory. So sharing of ourselves is part of every faith. Volunteer efforts are essential, and rent and salaries of the more things of our mundane world are often paid with cash. So we do create our programs through your generosity. The greeters will pass the baskets for those who choose to make contributions that way while Susanne plays. Members of neighborhood choose a variety of ways to give, either through offerings in the baskets, there's QR code displayed, or from their banks through direct e-transfer. Whether you're online or here in the sanctuary, you can use the link displayed, which leads you to our donation page on our website. And in all ways, I ask you to be generous. Greeters, please bring the baskets to me when the money is collected.
During the offering, I'm going to share with you an arrangement of a folk melody of the Dai people of southwest China from the Yunnan province. They're Theravada Buddhists and are living in the beautiful rainforest that I've shared a picture of here on the screen. This is called Forest Meditation.
If you have found love and acceptance here, if you have found a home here, if you have known kindred spirits here, Let this offering be a token of gratitude for our common life as we build the common good.
For our closing song, I invite you to join me in singing a song written by Buddhist Melina Bondi, who's a friend of Neighborhood, and we've had here regularly to speak. Song starts with ourselves and moves out in greater and greater circles of caring and compassion. There's many verses, so I'll just get it going and you join me when you're ready. And if you would like to stand, you are welcome to embody the music in whatever way feels right to you. May I be happy. May I be free from pain and suffering. May I live in peace and well-being, and may I be free. May I be free. May you be happy. May you be happy. May you be free from pain and suffering. May you live in peace and well-being, and may you be free. May you be free. May we be happy. May we be free from pain and suffering. May we live in peace and well-being, and may we be free. May we be free.
I would like to invite Mark to come forward and that we can all join to sing as he extinguishes our chalice. Although our chalice has been darkened, we hold the fire within our hearts. Please, we have a tradition of connecting physically as we have spiritually, as you're comfortable, maybe touch a shoulder or touch elbows. And Sally has a closing blessing.
As we go out into the world today, may we remember that there is an inherent worth deeply embedded in each of us, that there is nothing that takes that away, that there is nothing that undermines that. May we shine brightly in the world, and may we recognize the light that shines in all we encounter. Amen.